here with Paco Cervantes. Tell us what you did and what you played.
Hi, so I played in the Yu-Gi-Oh regionals in Salem this last weekend, and I got second place. And I played with the Prank Adventure deck. So getting right into it, just with the very standard adventure package. There was a point where I was playing two of these, but I figured that the package I didn't want to touch it, just standard. Um, my I call this my DPE package. I do consider these to be part of the package with the DPE stuff because it's the only reason I'm playing them. Yeah, there's like the synergy with being able to draw, but really it's just the fact that it's a really good extender. It's a dark, so I can go into dark with it. It's half of an anaconda. Some people have been cutting the numbers or they don't play it at all. I don't think that's correct. I think this is one of the best extenders in the game right now, and that's why I have to play it at 2 and 2. I can also get bricks out of my hand, and you don't have that luxury if you're only playing one. The prank stuff. So I went with a pretty minimal number with the prank stuff, and it was pretty last minute. I was on 46 cards. I decided to cut one field spell and one Roxy's. I never really want to start with Roxy's. If I get drolled, this is the worst one to have. Um, and what I realized was that I started looking this as less of a prank kid deck and more of just like another pile deck, and I found that if I wasn't opening any of them, I could still play and I could still like make a pretty mean board. Whereas if I opened like two or three of them, it made it a lot harder to play. So I decided that I would rather not see any and see them late game, like on turn two or turn three, than opening just like three of them and having a terrible hand. My non-engine cards, just pretty. So I had the three ashes, the three ghost spells, the three crows, three veilers, three ogres, and the one called by. Um, these were mostly to respect other decks in the room because I know there was going to be a lot of Despia, and because of that, there were people cutting the hand traps to a lower amount. But I didn't want to go in there thinking I was only going to play Despia, which ended up being a really smart move on my part because I ended up playing no Despia. But even with that being the case, these still ended up being really good in my matches. There was some like random stuff that I was able to play DD Crow against. A lot of the time I was citing this out. That isn't to say this is a bad card. I just did not play any Despia, and I was expecting to. 9 rounds of Swiss and zero Despia, but some of them top though. It's not like they weren't there. To go into the extra deck, just here are my tokens. Shout out to my friend Elvis. I saw him there. He was a judge. I haven't seen that guy in a minute. I was able to take another picture. Um, and then it's the Prank Kids. Again, very minimalist. Didn't want to play more than I had to. I decided to not play the Rocket Ride because I figured that I was never going to go into it. I was definitely never going to go into it on my turn with my own fusion spell. The only times that I could have seen going into it was off of a Super Poly, and even then, I think I would rather go into that. Just because I'm not even going to use the effect of Rocket Ride. There's never going to be cards in my graveyard after a Super Poly. I'm going to use that on my draw phase. So I figured that the space would be better used for a different card. Sorry, we're outside. And then the rest of my extra deck is very much geared towards my Anaconda, and then killing with Access Code Talker. And then, of course, my Dark Super Poly target, and then the MVP of the deck, my DPE. This guy won me. This is how I was winning games. Even like Access Code Talker, I rarely went into it. I would mostly just control the board with DPE and then win out. I actually did not go into the double Butler play very often because in a lot of my matches I was put in a position where I could go into the double Butler play, but if that got stopped, it would just be absolutely no crackback on my part. And I am more of a cautious player, so I would rather have the ability to crack back on my turn. If it can come back to my turn, I feel way more confident, and so that's why I was playing it a little safer, which is why I rarely went into Access Code. For my side deck, I played two Lightning Storms because I still respected the back row decks, and three Twin Twisters. I was debating whether to go between this and evenly matched to protect my just to kind of play around stuff like the huge revolution is over, awaking the tyrant or whatever that card is called. But I decided to go with lightning storm because these are also good against flu. Clear out an M pen. It ended up mattering because in the last round, game three, I was playing against flu and I opened both of these. I was able to clear his back row during the draw phase, so he couldn't use his trap card. And then I was able to lightning storm his monsters away. And then I just passed because he had a face up. He had a face up Mystic Mind, so like he got to go and I had nothing else. But like I had a Veiler for his normal summon, so like the duel was over at that point. Um, I did end up going with two droplets. I mean, they were all right. They weren't the best card in my side. I feel like they were more placeholders than anything else. Going into the next regionals, I don't know if this will still be in my side. We'll just see how the format is. I decided to keep two Nibirus in my side just to respect the matchups that I might be able to play, and they ended up working out. I actually would side them in the mirror match. For me, it doesn't feel like this is very good just because I can drop souls and go into Anaconda after. But a lot of people, if they have souls, they'll do it like immediately. Like, they'll just drop it to the board before they even finish their prank stuff, just so they can get the draws. And if they do that, Nibiru. And then of course my going first card, just a Dimensional Barrier. I just felt like there were a lot of decks that this was going to be good against. There were still random DDD decks running around. Despia, this is a fantastic card against Despia. And other any like random DPE decks where it's like that's all they do is just DPE. This isn't the worst going first card against them either. So that's what I decided on, because I saw the list that won the YCS playing Solemn, and I considered that, but I didn't feel like I felt like it was a much safer card to play. And then my MVP side deck card is definitely a Super Poly. This is like an auto win in the mirror. You get this card whether you're going first or you're going second, and it's like a free game. You just do it on your draw phase, or even if like you set it, it feels so good to have this set in the mirror. Or even against like random dark decks, this card is fantastic. I didn't get to try it against the Despia matchup, but I tested it against it, and it was good. I actually I chose not to play Cherries this format for that tournament, and it ended up working out because I actually had somebody play it against me, and it was so weak. He cherries my Meow Meow Mew, and it did nothing. I just dropped souls, went into Anaconda, and then on his turn he was only playing with 5 cards instead of no, he was playing with 4 cards because he had another Cherries. So he had a Cherries again before he even started playing, and so he was only playing with 4 cards, and then at that point it was just his 4 cards against my adventure cards plus DPE. So that's the list, and just a couple shout outs. Shout out to the team and the sponsor, Treasure Box Gaming. These guys pay me. It's fantastic. Never had that before. And they're also just it's a great team. You should check out their the YouTube channel. We'll be having stuff on there. We also live stream on Twitch. To the Seven Sins chat, y'all know who you are. Just a lot of testing, a lot of theorizing. Tristan for winning. Huge shout out to him. He did a great job with the deck that people weren't expecting. John for pestering me to play this deck, John Hamby, because he had been telling me for months to switch it up to this deck. And then Gio, of course, for being the tipping point. He just like made some comments about what the deck is, about like the different decks and how we definitely should be playing this one. And that was just like the tipping point after all the stuff that John had said. And also a shout out to Luis Vasquez for putting me in the lab. That guy just sat me down and told me, like, when I first went on this deck, he told me that my combos were awful, and he just put me into a solo room and just had me practicing until I was able to get it down. And then like a huge special shout out to my friend Tony. I feel like I talked for both of us. He knows why. I don't want to like throw it out there, but yeah, that's everything.